welcome to the first AMA with the Waves Labs core team. Pretty exciting. So last week we released the growth map for the Waves ecosystem in 2022. We're going to spend the majority of today's AMA answering some of the great questions posed by the community about that growth roadmap. However, as everyone knows, there's been a lot of negative news this weekend, which has led to the depegging of the USDN from the dollar, something which we know everyone in the community is worried about. So that's why we've brought in Waves founder, Sasha Ivanov, to answer a few questions on why this has happened, but most importantly, what is being done to fix it and why the community need not worry. So Sasha, amazing to have you here. Thanks for joining us on such short notice. Let's start with addressing the elephant in the room head on. Can you help us understand why the USDN stablecoin has depegged from the dollar?
Guys, hi everybody. I see a lot of people here. Basically, I think we are entering the first league now. So Waves has been in a league of its own for years. As you know, we're an old project. We started in 2016, and actually now we are trying to enter the Premier League, the major league. Now, and it probably attracts a lot of attention. Not all of it is positive. So I hate to talk about it because I hate those things, but we have some fun campaign right now around Waves that has a goal to make Waves price go down. I think it's like growing pains, guys, because when you like grow big, you attract more attention and you have to go through some like rites of passage. So I think this is it for us because I don't think we're pretty established, but we're somehow in our own niche for years. And now it's time for us to be more global, more visible. So we have to go through this. And what we are doing to solve the situation, we have actually proposed a governance decision on for neutrino protocol, and it was accepted today, and it allows people to arbitrage and to issue new neutrinos more easily, because there was a recent update with some kind of default parameters, because we wanted to change the parameters in the future, but I think the right time is now. So we actually made this proposal today. It was accepted by the community. Now the parameters are going to change, and it will actually make the arbitrage accessible to most NSBT holders. This should help bring USDN back to pack, because our arbitrage works very well, because people always try to make some profits, and it's a very easy way to make profits. So summarize, so we experience some volatility in Waves. It's normal because we have announced a lot of things, and we have a new roadmap, new US company, Waves Labs, and a lot of other things. So we actually attract a lot of attention. We are working to resolve all those issues, and of course we will solve them, guys, because we are a very established project. I am in like blockchain space for I don't know how many years, maybe 8, with like 6 years old, and nothing can stop us.
Yeah, great. So Sasha, just to follow up on that one, do we have any figures on why USDN is in fact sustainable?
USDN is sustainable because it's overcollateralized more than, for example, DAI. It has more than 200% overcollateralization right now. So like there is no problem with collateral, and the depeg wasn't caused by the lack of collateral. You need to understand that. And it's like a liquidity issue, because, like, for example, curve pools work in such a way that it takes the liquidity from one side, pool gets depegged. And it doesn't matter how the stable coin works. It's just like irrelevant, because you have this situation where some kind of like imbalance in liquidity causes some kind of like depeg situation. And it is usually resolved through arbitrage, and it will be resolved through arbitrage this time as well.
Yeah, great. So you're talking there about the neutrino governance proposal that's just been accepted by the community. Maybe you could just give a little bit more detail on how that proposal and will help restore the peg.
Yeah. So basically, as I explained, the parameters that were accepted with this proposal today are pretty like soft. They allow people with a small stake of NSBT to issue new neutrinos. Because we launched the new mechanics recently of the neutrino protocol when you need to have NSBT, that is the governance token of the protocol, to do issues and redemptions. So there were some like default parameters that were pretty restricting. And we were thinking that governance would actually tweak those parameters later. So we launched the governance for those parameters today, and people voted for a proper set of parameters that allows them to issue and redeem neutrino with a small stake. So what should happen next? People will be buying USDN from Curve pool, redeeming it into waves, selling waves, which is not good for waves, but okay, what can you do? And bringing those stables back to Curve pool and buying new neutrino. And the cycle repeats itself. So people like make profits with this, and what they do effectively buys neutrino from the Curve pool, that is reduces the amount of neutrinos there and adds stable coins there. So effectively, it brings the pool back to balance, and through this, it brings neutrino back to peg.
Cool. Awesome. So the next question is the Vires Finance DAO proposal to update liquidation thresholds and borrow APRs. It received quite a lot of negative response from the community. Can you explain what this proposal is and how it would actually impact the Vires Finance users?
Yeah, basically, so guys, we have to react, as I told you. So when there is something really bad happening, we have to react. And so there's this FUD campaign I posted on Twitter, and you might check those tweets. It looks like there is some like very well organized campaign that tries to bring Waves price down. It's not good because we have to protect our community. So there is this proposal to limit Waves borrowing that should actually prevent people from shorting Waves, and the community is actually able to vote for it. So if the community decides that this is the right path to take, they could vote for it. And it obviously protects our community because we have this like campaign around shorting Waves, and it doesn't help Waves in any way. So I can't see how it helps us. So we should somehow protect our community in the first place. What I want to mention and what I want to emphasize that even if this proposal is accepted, nobody, even those shorters, would lose any money. Why? Because they can liquidate their positions before it is activated. What it means? They can just bring their Waves back to Vires, and that's all they have to do. They have to return Waves back to Vires. In this case, there's not going to be any kind of like financial loss for them. That's it. It's very simple. It's not that we are like somebody wants to liquidate their positions. No, this is not the case. We don't want to liquidate them. All they have to do to prevent any kind of financial damage is to close their loans before the proposal is activated. We just want people to not borrow Waves for a while, and then we can re-enable that by initiating maybe another proposal that can be accepted by the community. This is it, guys. So it's a temporary measure, and the only goal here is to protect Waves ecosystem.
Awesome. Thanks for answering those questions, Sasha. I'm sure that's super helpful for the community to understand the situation and what the Waves core team is doing to fix the growing pains that we're going through right now. So I think we can move to a more positive point of the AMA now. I want to talk more about the 2022 growth plan and the launch of Waves Labs in the US. So maybe Sasha, you could just start us off with an explanation of what Waves Labs is here to do and why you're excited about it.
Yeah, so basically, Waves Labs should become like the main company Waves ecosystem, because I think the American market is the most important crypto market right now. A lot of liquidity. There is like huge interest in the US. It's like I was really surprised. I didn't expect the interest to be that high. When I came to US, it was like I didn't expect that, because in the rest of the world it's not like that. So people are crazy about crypto in the US. So I think this is the right place to be from like business perspective.
We'll move on and we'll introduce the new Waves Labs head of ecosystem, Coleman Maher. Coleman previously led business development at Origin Protocol and has been an active advisor and investor in blockchain. Origin has released successful products in DeFi and the NFT space, and its token was listed on Coinbase. So Coleman brings a lot of experience and a strong US international network to the Waves Labs team. And to really get you guys excited about what Coleman can bring to Waves, here are a few of his many achievements at Origin. In the first 2 months, he signed 55 developer partnership agreements. He helped raise $38 million from top investors like Pantera and Foundation Capital. He helped grow TVL to 300 million. He signed Jake Paul to an NFT drop on Origin, signing marquee partnerships with Google Cloud, AWS, and Samsung, and DeFi partnerships with Curve, Yearn, and Convex. So Coleman, great to have you on board, mate. We've had a lot of questions come through Twitter to ask you and Sasha, so we'll let you say hi and then get straight into it. But I will just say the first 5 questions that we do ask from now will be entitled to a 100% rarity Jackpot Waves Duck NFT. So if that's you, we'll be calling you out by name and reaching out to you after the AMA to send you over your prize. You can also ask any question in the community Telegram right now during this AMA, and we'll pick 5 at the end to answer in a free fire round. So go ahead, Coleman. Great to have you on board, mate.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Obviously, crazy couple of first weeks on the job, but really excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So the first question is from Twitter user and soon to be proud owner of 100% rarity Waves Duck, Harris Risk, who asked, as a new team, what are the goals and resolutions that you want to achieve, and what are you doing that is new?
So I think we want to be pretty transparent about our goals. So we've decided publicly on some numbers, trying to achieve $10 billion of TVL across the Waves ecosystem. We got up to about 50% of the way there before all the drama. So I think we're making good progress and we're on track for that by the end of the year. We're trying to achieve 5 million monthly active users. We want the Waves token to be more accessible across the US and on top platforms and venues. And we want Waves integrated into as many top projects and protocols as possible. And I think you touched on this earlier, but I think that the main goal of Waves Labs is to raise awareness, focus on marketing. Like we're going to have a presence at all the big crypto events. We're really trying to be the growth engine of Waves and build awareness of Waves, incubate new projects on Waves, increase the number of users across the Waves ecosystem. And with that in mind, we're starting a US incubator to fund early stage projects, help them get started building on Waves. And I think this is just going to lead to kind of a flywheel effect. The more projects we incubate, the more users we bring to Waves, the more awareness we bring to Waves, more developers are going to be interested in building on Waves. So that's basically the idea of Waves Labs and what we're trying to do.
Thanks for that. So the next question too, Twitter user Valo Maiden asked, what is the biggest challenge for Waves in the future and how do you plan to deal with it?
Well, I think right now we're going through one of the biggest challenges, but thankfully the Waves community has kind of rallied with some governance proposals and how we can fix the situation with Neutrino and Vires. So, this is a big challenge we're facing right now. I think if we're talking about long-term challenges for long-term growth of Waves in the Waves ecosystem, one of the big challenges is education. We're building a learn-to-earn education platform to try to get people to learn more about Waves and Web3 crypto in general. Blockchains are really complex. User experience is not that great. There's a steep learning curve, and we're trying to simplify that as much as possible. And so that means building these education platforms, improving documentation, tooling, stuff like that. So we want to improve resources across the board, from retail users first learning about blockchain and Waves to developers.
Cool. Thank you. So the next question 3 is from Twitter user Dogu Khan, who asked, what kind of activities will the USA company have and what benefits will it have for the Waves ecosystem?
So some of the activities that we're going to run are geared towards things like raising and deploying the ecosystem fund, so get capital in the hands of builders and entrepreneurs, the educational platform that I mentioned with various campaigns around that. We're going to have a big presence at all the tech and crypto events. Running an incubator is going to give us the opportunity to foster talent that needs help in building on the Waves platform. And new projects coming into the ecosystem means that we're going to have to do big launch campaigns to attract new users and give the community an ability to benefit all the activity like token launches, airdrops, new incentives, and reward schemes, and lots of stuff we haven't thought about yet. And while our focus is on the US and that we're based here in Miami, Waves remains decentralized and global. So this shouldn't discourage other projects or users from other countries to come to us and propose things.
Cool. Awesome. So we've just got one more question here for Sasha, actually. This is from Chandler Bing. So the question is, what do you aim to solve with the level 0 Inter-metaverse?
Yeah, basically is our take on NFT market, because there is like some NFT projects on Waves Sign Art, for example, which is awesome. But we need to have our answer to the NFT challenge. And we want to go further, actually. We want to solve metaverse problem, because I think everybody's doing their own metaverse, but there is no protocol that connects different metaverses. So we want to create inter-chain metaverse protocol. It's a very natural step in development of metaverse, because it's pretty clear that all metaverses will be connected somehow. Otherwise, they won't have that many options for their users. So you need to interact maybe with different worlds, and you need to have some shared economy between different worlds. So inter-chain metaverse protocol is pretty interesting, and we've been talking a lot to many different gaming companies, and we kind of understand what they want, because they don't want to deal with low-level blockchain mechanisms. All they want to do is to create their NFTs. They should be inter-chain. They don't want to be limited by one chain. They want to tap into other metaverses. So we want to create a universal tool for all companies interested in creating their own metaverses, in creating their own NFTs that live on all chains. Those NFTs will live on all chains. Meta0 is agnostic, and it will make also creation of different metaverses very easy and accessible for everyone, because I can feel this problem with a lot of, for example, gaming companies. We're gonna give them the tool to build easily in a very efficient manner. This is our goal. We just wanna be first. We wanna occupy this niche of inter-metaverse interaction.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Sasha. So I'm gonna ask one more question for Coleman, and then I'm gonna open the floor up to OX Hams, who's joined us as a guest speaker for today to discuss with you, Sasha, and with you, Coleman, a little bit more on your answers regarding the USDN depegging. Just one more question for you, Coleman, is what do you think, and this is asked by CryPepe21, what do you think makes Waves stand out compared to other blockchains, and what will put us ahead of our competitors?
So I'm pretty recent as an addition to the Waves Labs team, and my impression of Waves always as a longtime crypto native is that Waves was a very practical minded blockchain with a lot of talented developers in the community. I think that's one of the main things that makes Waves stand out versus competitors. There's a good balance between practicality and idealism. And one of the other things that obviously sets Waves apart is that it uses RIDE, which is scripting language. It's not an EVM chain, and yet it's still been able to support and launch a lot of top projects, that attract billions of dollars in TVL. And another thing to know as an investor and participant in crypto myself is that Waves hasn't really put that much effort into building a hype machine. So this growth has been organic. There hasn't been much flexing of marketing muscles. So it's pretty interesting to me to see how things are going to grow for Waves in the future now that there is this renewed emphasis on marketing and business development. And Waves is going to add EVM compatibility, which is going to open things up even more. So it's an interesting time to join Waves, and I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Coleman. So yeah, I'd like to invite OX Hams if he's got any questions for Sasha that he wants to ask right now. Go ahead.
Hey guys,
Hey.
appreciate the offer to be able to talk here. It's a classy move. I guess the biggest question I have is for those who have deposited into Vires, what is the outlook on them being able to get their funds back? We've heard multiple reports of those funds not being able to, in a timely way, get from the Waves bridge to the ETH bridge. Obviously, because the borrow is completely maxed out, nobody can withdraw. I didn't see anything in the governance proposal that addressed that concept.
So liquidity high, by the way. Nice to hear your voice.
Likewise.
The liquidity is going to be restored, of course. So if not for the FUD campaign, we wouldn't have those issues. But this is not the first time when this happened in Wire. And it was restored. Maybe like this time it will take more time, but it's going to be restored. As for the gateways, actually gateways work. Maybe there's like some additional load now, but we don't have this issue with liquidity on gateways. And on Vires, it's gonna come back for sure because there is some kind of like bank run situation that some like crowd created, like you know what I'm talking about. But it's gonna come back, so I don't see any issue there. I mean, it's a problem for users that they can't take their liquidity out anytime they want, but they still make APY. So it's locked. The situation can happen in the Lightning protocols. There is no guarantee that you can take your money out anytime. It's not like the swap protocol. It's different. It's not Uniswap. It's lending protocol. So it's like there's no guarantee of liquidity. But you're making APY, so you're making profits. And as soon as the liquidity comes back, you can take your liquidity out. That's it.
But aren't you taking the APY from 80% to 40%? I guess why isn't it going to be in 2 weeks? You take 40% to.
Because this is like the limit of APY is going to help stabilize the situation there. I don't think those crazy APYs work. So we have to bring it down and it will make the protocol more sustainable. And actually, 80% APY is probably too extreme. It can happen for a while, but it can't happen for any like extended periods of time. So I think it makes sense to bring things back to normal as soon as possible. And 40% APY, I think, is pretty reasonable. So this proposal by the community, actually, so they can accept it, they can vote against it, and we are not voting. If you want to ask this question, I think it's pretty easy to track who votes for the proposal.
I think I want to emphasize these are not normal conditions, and these are kind of like emergency measures. So we understand that there's like a lot of concerns about this governance proposal or like these caps on APY, but I think we want to emphasize this is due to this extreme situation, and it's not expected that we're gonna like cap APY like that arbitrarily in the future.
Yeah, man, and I want to address Mr. You posted now that somebody deposited 3 million ways, like myself, like deposited 3 million ways to Binance, and he's gonna sell it. You should do your like homework. You could trace that account. It's one of the oldest accounts on Waves. It's like old 2016 ICO account. And it's not ours. We have the details of that account, like email address of the person, but I won't share it, of course. In no way I can share it, but we have it. So it's an account of an ICO investor in 2016, and everybody in Waves knows our ICO address now. So you should do your homework, my friend. I understand that you have some like agenda, but you have to work better.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a public blockchain. You can see what I see. We can disagree on it.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, look,
but
you
can see that it's like
there's no way for me to validate.
It's an old 2016 ICO address. It's very easy to track it. All
right, well,
it's very clear.
If you disagree with that point of view, I'm happy for you to put together a thread and disagree with it. But
you're coming up with some like very strange accusations. Basically, you're saying that I sent, like, it's not me, man. You should prove it. I can't disprove it because you don't have any proof.
Again,
so you should first prove that it was me, my friend. I won't try to disprove what's not proven. No, I told you, man, it's on the public blockchain. Okay. Anybody can trace it back to 2016 ICO. And everybody in Waves knows our team ICO address. Everybody.
Right.
It's like 3PQ something. Everybody. In real, I don't know your agenda. Probably, I'm not gonna accuse you, right? Because people can make their own like conclusions. So
Last thing I'd say is I appreciate
sure,
you.
please.
I appreciate you guys giving me the floor to speak. Again, this is a blockchain. Everything's open. If you feel very strongly about something I've said that's incorrect.
Can I say something? Like, yeah, it's getting a little heated, obviously. I know Sasha, this is his baby, and he doesn't, appreciate being personally accused of dumping waves or whatever the accusation is. I think your Twitter threads, 0xAmps, like I haven't verified or had the chance to like check into every single claim that you've made, but obviously your threads have gotten a lot of attention. There's probably some valid short thesis that you're putting together, and we're fine with people shorting waves, and it's okay for people to post Twitter threads like, this is why I'm opening a short position. These are maybe some problems with token economics or whatever like that. That's all fair play. I think it's just it became personal if you're saying that Sasha is personally dumping waves. I just think he strongly wants to.
Well, look,
clear that's not
candidly,
happening.
this goes both ways because
I
I've been
don't
attacked
sell
by
waves.
the quote-unquote
I
Waves Army
never
and
sell
Sasha
waves.
as
Yeah,
well. I
that's right.
appreciate the time speaking.
Absolutely.
If you ever want to talk, meet up, call, whatever,
I would be glad
I'm
to
always
meet you
available.
in New York if you want. Yeah, I will be glad to meet you in person in New
Yeah,
York.
DM me, man.
For sure. I'm gonna. Yeah. So just I will discuss.
Cheers.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, my friend. Bye.
Great. Well, thanks for taking those questions, Sasha. I think we've got a few more questions just to go through that we've got asked in the Telegram as we've been chatting. So these can go out to both of you, either of you, whichever one's happy to answer. The first one is, I see in the Waves roadmap there is a section launching the Waves Ambassador program in May. Can you tell us a little bit more about this program?
The ambassador program. I think actually, maybe why don't you speak about this, Jack? I think this is probably more your area of domain expertise than either me or Sasha.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of projects have these direct connections into the community where frequent, valuable community members are actually rewarded with either token allocations or rewarded in some way, incentivized in some way to help the protocol, whether it's community management or marketing or BD. That's yet to be defined. But yeah, the idea is that we'll define an ambassador program that has different levels of engagement with community members and just help to incentivize the people within the community a little bit more to be more engaged as and when they want. Ambassador programs in general, they can be really helpful for people trying to get into crypto. If you want to work in crypto, you want to work in Web3, like starting off in an ambassador program, helping a company with community management or marketing can be a great place to start. So yeah, super exciting initiative that the marketing team will run. So next question, Waves gets many supporters in the last month and many different people come to the Waves ecosystem. What will we do to keep them in the Waves ecosystem?
I think having great products is paramount. That's the first thing that's going to keep them in the Waves ecosystem. Having people foster a sense of community, having certain incentives to be involved, I think that's all quite important. It's kind of very exciting to see how many people are taking notice of Waves and joining our community. We ultimately serve the community, and we're open to their suggestions. If they have suggestions for us, like how they want to see Waves develop and what it would take for us to win their loyalty, like we're reachable on many platforms, and I think that's going to be a focus of us, especially at Waves Labs going forward, being reachable by the community, like hearing out their concerns and just engaging with them as equals.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, being accountable for what's going on and also the goals that we've got at Waves Labs, like being clear on how we're tracking is going to be a regular thing that we do more and more. I'd add to that as well is just by focusing on high quality education as best as possible. I think that's a great marketing strategy for us is that high quality education piece, like really spending the time on research in what Waves can be used for. The strategy there is that attracting new users that share our vision while at the same time making it clear to new developers what to build really helps both markets that we have, that users and developers understand what to build to be most valuable for society.